Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to yet another episode of The Way Life Ought to Be. I'm your host, Wayne Kramer. Hopefully, things are going well for you. It's Monday. We survived the weekend. That is a golden thing. I'm very happy about that. I, first of all, would like to thank each and every one of you that has subscribed, shared, followed, reviewed, commented, and listened to this podcast. It is a huge honor to have every single one of you take time out of your busy lives and listen to this podcast. The goal of The Way Life Ought to Be is to inspire hope and help you all have the best life you could possibly ever have, and at the same time helping me. This is helping me grow just as well. I very much appreciate all of the interaction on Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and on Facebook as well. I've got a new Facebook page that's called The Way Life Ought to Be. Crazy thought, right? What a concept. And I've had a pretty good interaction there as well. So please keep commenting, shares, write how you get past struggles in life. Post what things you're trying to accomplish in life, and we'll all grow together and we'll help each other. And it will be awesome. I'm super pumped about it. Today's episode is on a subject called the Imposter Syndrome. The Imposter Syndrome. Okay. A simple definition of the Imposter Syndrome is a collection of feelings of inadequacy that persist despite evident success. Imposter Syndrome sufferers have chronic self-doubt and a sense of intellectual fraudulence that override any feelings of success or external proof of their competence. So basically, people that suffer from imposter syndrome, regardless of how they're succeeding in life, regardless of their skill sets and how well they're doing, regardless of the evidence that shows they're doing well, they suffer from the imposter syndrome. They suffer from overriding feelings of lack of competence, if you will. And according to a study, over 70% of the population struggles with imposter syndrome. That is according to the Journal of Behavioral Science. 70% struggle with the imposter syndrome. And why is this? What can we do to get past this? Well, it is my hope that during this podcast, we can look at some actionable steps we can take to grow and fight the imposter syndrome, so we won't feel like an imposter. How's that? Sounds like a great idea to me. Oftentimes, we think about stepping out, but we will not do so because of the fear of the unknown. Now, this is prior to stepping out and prior to dealing with the imposter syndrome, but I'm just trying to highlight this because if you are in a situation and you see the ability to grow and to step out and take a risk in your life, and you think, no, man, I ain't doing that. Come on, bruh. I'm not stepping out. This isn't going to work. I believe that some of the greatest successes and areas of growth that we will ever be a part of in our lives, they exist right behind our own created imaginary wall of fear. And I don't mean that when you finally step up and you decide to walk forward toward an opportunity or a goal, that you'll walk through this imaginary wall of fear and have to walk 10 more miles until you finally get there. You're like, oh, I need some water. I'm dying. No, I'm saying that when you stand up, you walk through that imaginary wall of fear, the fear that tells you, I can't do it. It's not going to work. You should sit back down. You're a failure. Your greatest successes are right. I'm talking, you know what a micrometer is? You measure really, really tight tolerances. They're right there. Right there, man. That's where it is. And that's why we need to step out and walk into our own lives. This precedes the imposter syndrome, But I do think it's an important part of the puzzle. We do need to discuss this and consider it. We need to consider all of the actions that we need to take. Now, the only way to stop feeling like an imposter is to stop thinking like an imposter. And that, it sounds easy to say that. The only way to stop failing is if you just stop deciding to fail, Johnny. Now walk forward and feel better. Well, thank you. That's great. I am going to dominate the world now. Thank you for that great advice. It sounds a lot easier said than done, but it is real. The only way to stop feeling like an imposter is to stop thinking like an imposter. So in my own life, we as a family, we had very much struggled financially for, a long time. And finally, we were able to get back on an upward track. I had a new job in sales, and it was going pretty well. And we decided as a family to go on a vacation to Marco Island in Florida with our 4 children. And we were just really excited to go. So we rented a condo that was right across the street from the Gulf of Mexico. So we get on the plane. It's a pretty big deal. I haven't flown a ton. We're flying a lot more now, but I haven't flown a ton at this point. So that was a big deal. The airport is a big deal. Getting the kids all loaded up was a big deal. It's cray-cray. If you have 4 kids or you have any kids, it's crazy. You're walking through the airport, getting on a plane, layover flights. Oh, man. Getting the rental car, keeping it real, yo. But we got in the plane, we flew to Florida, got there, got our rental van, loaded it up, stopped at the store, got some groceries, went to the condo, and I distinctly remember getting into the elevator at the condo, and there was a button that had the letter P on it. And the letter P stood for penthouse. And as I reached out my hand, my kids were in the elevator with me, and I reached out my hand, and they asked me, what does the letter P mean? What floor is that? And I was like, wow, that's the penthouse. That's the floor we're on. And I thought, we're staying here for 10 days. We're going to be going to the ocean and restaurants and actually staying in this amazing place. And I just literally, even though I was physically in that location and living it, I was just not able to connect us to that situation. Isn't that crazy? I pushed the button for P. We rode up the elevator to the top, walked down the hallway, opened the door, and there we were. And we could see the Gulf of Mexico from the patio. And I thought, crazy. We're in the penthouse. And now don't get me wrong, this was not like the Ritz-Carlton or some crazy, insane place, but it was called the penthouse. I mean, what? They didn't label it wrong. So it was nice, but it wasn't, out of control crazy. But I just still, to this day, I think of that sometimes. And I think, wow, even though you're actually living, walking, breathing in a successful situation, and you have made strides and changes, you can still not connect the dots and believe that you're actually there. I find that incredible. That is an example of the imposter syndrome. I thought, look, we're going to go to restaurants and we're going to talk to people. And what if they find out that I'm not this guy? Like, I shouldn't be here. I should be back at my home, sitting in a chair, feeling like this isn't where I can be, but I earned the right to be there. I busted my butt. I worked hard. We saved money. We did what it took to get there. And I still couldn't connect it. It's incredible. I mean, I believe inevitably the real battlefield and where all of the warfare takes place is in our own mind. Our mind is the foundation for all of our beliefs and actions and achievements. And until we decide to take captive our own thoughts of insufficiency or being fraudulent, we simply cannot become who we were or are supposed to be. Until we can take them captive, we just can't. We're trapped. We need to believe that we can achieve. We posted something on the Way Life Ought to Be Facebook page, and it was simply dream, believe, achieve. When we dream, we open up the areas of our mind that allow us to escape where we're presently at. Dreaming is very important, I believe. Dreaming. And when you dream, my friends, dream big. Dream big. I mean, tear the walls off the house that you're in your mind. Dream huge and just open up the possibilities. And then once you start to dream, grab on to some of those dreams. Grab on to your purpose and grab on to who you're supposed to be and believe. Remove doubt. Take away this fraudulent imposter syndrome issue. Remove it and believe. And then start to work towards those goals, those aspirations, those dreams, and start to achieve. But I can tell you that this is always how it works. Belief always precedes accomplishment. Belief always precedes accomplishment. If you can't believe, you simply cannot achieve. Now, what are some ways that we can take actionable steps to try and break the stronghold, if you will, of the imposter syndrome in our lives? Well, first of all, I think it's very important that we separate fiction from fact. Okay, separate it. Look at it, pick it apart, and be honest with yourself. If you have a career, or you're in a good job, or you're a good parent, or you're leading a good group of people in a church or a community, whatever it is, and it's going well, stop telling yourself that it's not going well. Look at the facts. If it's growing and it's having an effect or an impact and it's helping people or you or whatever, stop telling yourself that it's failing. Self-talk is very important. Don't viciously or savagely destroy your own dreams as you're trying to live them. Allow yourself to win. Give yourself permission to actually feel good. It's okay to feel good about yourself. It really is. Make a list of achievements, okay? Make a list of achievements. Make a list of your strengths. Make a list of your talents. And I'm not talking, well, one time I won $1 at bingo. Another time I painted my shed. That's fine, but make a list of your achievements. What has been accomplished in your life that you felt good about, but you're dismissing now because you're in a different chapter and you're not remembering the foundational building blocks that helped form the structure of a person and the character you possess right now. Make a list of your strengths, make a list of your talents. Conversely, or opposite, make a list of all the things you don't like about yourself. Now, if you're like me, there's going to be one list that will be pretty heavy. There's going to be one list that will be lighter. It's like a scale, good and bad. One, we're very critical to ourselves. We're very, very critical about how we talk to ourselves. But we need to change that scale from all of the negative things we tell ourselves, weighing us down and crushing the scale down, and then the positive things, what do they have, a feather on it? Really? So you're just not good at all? You're not skilled? It's simply not true. Okay? It's simply not true. We need to balance that scale out, and we need to change how that scale looks and adjust how we speak to ourselves by being honest with ourselves. So like a list could be, an example could be about how you don't have a master's degree or the right education or a college degree, and a lot of people do, and it sometimes makes you feel like you're less. I'm not tall enough. I'm bald. I don't speak that well. I struggle with self-confidence. I don't come from wealth, okay? I'm not stylish. I'm not tech-savvy. I can't figure this stuff out. By the way, this is actually my list. That's actually my list. I'm keeping it real here, people. But the only way we can get past this is if we can make a choice to keep it real and be honest with ourselves and fight to get past the imposter syndrome that we can struggle with. It's very, very important that we're careful with how we speak to ourselves. It is very important how we speak to ourselves. Be careful with yourself. You're valuable, okay? You're valuable. In the last episode, I talked about how you are literally a miracle. Your life is a series of miraculous events coming together. So why abuse yourself? Why tell yourself you're not worthy, you're not good enough? Don't do it. Tell yourself that I am valuable and I have skills and I have talents and I am going to leverage them to make a difference in this world. Now, it is my belief that there are a good number of people that are okay with seeing you struggle with an imposter syndrome and not achieving your goals or aspirations. These very same people are okay without you stepping out and growing and finding your purpose, because if you do step out and find your purpose and grow, you become highly successful or have a major impact on other people. What's going to happen is that is going to have an illumination effect on them, and it's going to highlight the fact that they are not choosing to grow themselves. Don't allow them to hold you in an imposter syndrome pattern. They can live where they want to live. They can be where they want to be. They have the right to do that. What they don't have the right to do is to determine where you are going to live. You will stay right in this box here, and you will not grow. If you step out of this box, we are going to come and get you. Really? You're going to come and get me? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut the box apart, take the walls off, go in my backyard, get some kindling, and one of those cool little wax fire starter deals that you buy. This is for lazy people. When they start fires, you buy these little wax things and you put them in there and you walk away and get the marshmallows and the fire's going. It's magical. It's amazing. These are first world things, actually. Only in America do we have these items, but I'm going to put those in the fire and I'm going to take the walls of that box that they're trying to keep me in, and I'm going to put it all in a big pile, and I'm going to sit back on a lawn chair and I'm going to flick a match on that bad boy and she's going to burn to the ground. And I'm going to say, hey, man, you don't get to control my life. You don't get to tell me how I get to live. I'm having a fire, pal, and I'm going to continue living, and there will be no box left. I'm not simply going to imagine stepping out. I am going to. It's one thing to think about stepping out and growing. It is a completely different thing to stand up and actually do it. So let's just recap quickly. The imposter syndrome, it is the feelings of inadequacy. Even though we have success and we have outward evidence that we are succeeding and growing and we have the skill sets, it's this fear that they'll find us out and we will be fraudulent and we will not be good enough for the situation that we are in. Some actionable steps we can do: write down your talents. Write them down. Write them down a lot. Take time. Do not write a negative list about yourself. Write them down. You don't have to share it with people. Just write it down. Keep it. Write down a distinct, clear list of achievements. What have you achieved in your life? Don't diminish them either. If you've got first place in a 5K in your neighborhood, write it down. People don't run. A lot of people just sit and watch TV all day for their entire life. They won't run to their mailbox, for Pete's sake. Write it down. Put it on there, okay? If you achieved like some type of a certificate, say you're a mechanic and you have a master's certificate in mechanics. I don't even know if that's the right terminology. That's a big deal. That means you studied. You earned that. They don't just give those away. I have a certificate in broadcasting. I haven't looked at it forever. But I did earn that, and I studied, and I did what it took to get that. You need to write down the positive achievements in your life. What about, I have 3 kids. That's incredible. That's a blessing beyond words. Make a list of your strengths. Do you have strengths? And I would say, yes, you do. Write them down. Be clear. Make a list of your talents. And then make a list of the things that you don't like about yourself. Go ahead, write it down. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I'm scared. Okay? I don't want to grow. I'm lackadaisical. I'm inadequate. I'm not that good at math. I'm whatever. Write it down. And then when you get the 2 lists put together and you're looking at both of them, the list that has all of the bad things that you believe about yourself, take that list into your backyard. Or if you're in an apartment, take it outside, somewhere where you can be outside. Bring a lighter with you, light it on fire, and burn it until it is completely gone. This is a physical action. It doesn't mean they're going to immediately be gone, but you are physically saying, I do not want to believe those things about myself anymore. They are not true. I'm going to burn them and discard them. This is just a way to help you break free from the thoughts of inadequacy and from the imposter syndrome. I hope that we can all grow together. I very much thank you for all being part of this community. Thank you for tuning in to The Way Life Ought to Be. I am growing just as much as you are. And all of your comments and shares and everything that you put into this, it's all helping everybody. And it's going to make a difference in how we perceive our lives and how we move forward into our purpose of our lives and our goals and our aspirations. Thank you for tuning in to The Way Life Ought to Be. I hope you all have an incredibly amazing day. You are not an imposter. God bless.